مرحبا كيف حالكم؟ كلش تمام؟ Okay, today I want my clicker first. Where's my clicker?
I think it's with
Okay.
Sebastian. Yeah.
All right, it's fine. Okay. I always hate to talk after Fuad. It's very difficult to say anything interesting once he's done. But you know, let's see what what we can do. Okay, so this is basically a sort of you know, a collective experience from me and, you know, people in the community on what we realized that, you know, entrepreneurship is all about, most likely in the region. As much as we can, we have tried to put things that are more relevant to Jordan. Entrepreneurship in Jordan is, I mean, in my belief and in our region, is very, very different from entrepreneurship in Europe and the States. So I'll explain exactly why, and here is, okay. Okay. So, it's always very, very tough to be a playboy, okay? I mean, you know, you have to always lie here, lie there, make sure you're doing always the right thing. But you know what's even tougher than to be a playboy? Okay, being an entrepreneur is a lot tougher. Okay, so I'll explain to you how you can know if you're a person that deserves to be an entrepreneur or deserves to be, it's not a privilege, first of all, to be an entrepreneur, who deserves a shot. First of all, stop whining and saying, okay, I work 8, 10 hours a day, I don't have time on my weekends, blah, 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 all that stuff. If you really want to start your own idea, you will have the energy after you finish one full day of work to at least put in 2 or 3 hours into what you believe in. If you cannot do that, then I really think you shouldn't start your own idea. Okay, this is a very important acronym that I was taught by a gentleman who was giving us classes during the MIT Business Plan competition. Does anybody know this acronym? CFIMITYM. Okay, this is very relevant to Jordan. Exactly, you deserve
A mug.
5 mugs. Okay, cash flow is more important than your mother. Okay, raising money in Jordan is very, very difficult. So one thing you have to keep in mind, you always have to maintain and to manage your cash flow. The thing is, I'll give you 10 million examples, okay, not 10 million, maybe 10 examples in Jordan of people who have started businesses, they had great ideas, they worked hard, but unfortunately, I mean, we were all geeks and people who understood, you know, technology very well, but we did not understand certain, like, you know, like we were selling, we were trying to sell. But the thing that we couldn't manage, once you have team, once you're paying salaries, managing your cash flow is very important. I want to give you one example of a company that I believe will not have even succeeded if it was in our region or probably even in Europe. Twitter. We all know Twitter, right? Who thinks Twitter is a joke? Does anybody think Twitter is a big joke? Okay, perfect. Okay. So, Twitter, until today, is finding it very difficult to monetize their significant traffic. They're one of the most trafficked websites in the world, right? But the thing is, what they're still trying to do is to monetize their traffic. And until today, I think the estimated revenues for this year is like $100,000 for a company that is spending millions of dollars every year. That example, I think, will be very, very difficult to convince investors in Jordan to raise money for. So make sure if you're starting an idea, that's my personal opinion, that you should try to monetize early and try to at least find a way so that you don't spend millions without getting revenue. It will be very difficult to convince anybody. Second thing you need to fight is eating Mr. Gingerbread. If we are always, you know, like if you're a successful person and you're trying to work on your idea, there will be so many devils around you. Not devils, I mean, they're actually your friends, but they're always trying to tempt you even into a better idea. You know what, listen, your idea is cool, but I have a much, much, much better idea. You know what, in 3 years, we're gonna beat that, whatever, Zuckerberg. We're gonna make billions of dollars. Temptation is very, 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 very difficult to fight. So, I mean, you know what they say, fight temptation until you can't resist it. Right? So you need to fight temptation early on. Try not to deviate. Try to focus on your idea. Don't go to any other ideas. There are so many ideas. There will always be an idea greater than your idea. Try to follow your idea and do it. Okay. One thing that I absolutely hate, okay, when I hear this from everybody, including women, it's not my baby. Okay? One thing that is always, always, always killing me is that someone comes, okay, you know what? This is my baby. I want to do it. I'm in love with this company. Passion is great. Emotions are not. When you are emotionally attached to your company, this will be a huge, huge problem for you. The first thing is that you will be angry at anybody who takes a day off. That's the first thing. If somebody is sick, you feel like you want to kill them, right? The second thing is that if your business model isn't working for any reason, you want, and I mean, emotionally, you're so attached to your business model, you don't want to change your business model. PayPal, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they've changed their business model over 10 times before they became very successful. If they stick to their original business plan or like business model, they would have probably most likely failed and would not have been where they are today, right? So, okay, do have passion. Passion is great, like Fuad said. There's nothing that beats passion, but leave emotions aside. It's not your baby. If content is king, this is something that we hear every day. Data is queen. And this is going back also to Fuad's thing. Always build your company on data. In very successful companies, they say something that's so important. Nobody has an opinion. My opinion doesn't count. Your opinion doesn't count. Base your opinions or your suggestions on data. Always know what people are doing. If you have an e-commerce website, okay, just having like balance sheets is not enough. You need to know, where are people coming from? Are they coming through Facebook, coming through Twitter, coming through Google AdWords? Where are these guys coming from? And for every dollar that I spend on Facebook, how much am I getting in return versus Twitter? And if I'm investing, let's say, in a campaign in the States versus a campaign in Jordan, maybe Facebook in Jordan is more like has a better ROI in Jordan than rather in the States. So you always need to build your decisions on data, and this is one of the best ways to grow your company. Now, when it comes to technology, well, I do believe that you need to be technology agnostic. Technology is a tool, it's not an end. But I have a personal preference. I would rather build my company whenever possible. Of course, it's not black and white. As much as I can, I'd rather build my company using open source and free software technology. There are so many reasons why you want to do that. I'll give you some of them. First is total cost of ownership. You don't pay most of the time licensing fees. The second thing is that flexibility. You are able to edit the core of the software rather than build, things on top of it. And then if there's no API to build something, like this is a bit technical, you have to wait for whatever X company to build that for you. You can't do everything on your own. And one thing that I've heard countless times from investors, if they want to invest in a company, sometimes they request companies to change their technology to open source, and they prefer to invest in companies that are based on open source technology. Okay, so if you run out of energy, you're tired, you're lost, okay, what do you do besides drinking an energy drink? Okay, there's something that have always, always kept me working hard. And this is something I've mentioned on yesterday's panel. And this is really key. Once I realized that, it really helped me a lot with my life. Whenever you feel like, you're not sort in your zone and, things are not working very well for you, just close your eyes, think a year ahead that there's some douchebag who's going to be interviewing me, okay, and this person is going to be asking me, what did you do the past year? So things might be difficult. Your boss might be sort of not a very nice person or cute or anything like that. The environment might not be working very well for you. You might not be rewarded as much as you would like to be rewarded. But, just close your eyes, think a year ahead. Am I gonna go to that interview, be all negative? Yeah, you know what, I love to work, I'm such a smart guy. But, like my boss, oh my God, he's such a nasty animal. This is why I did not do anything the last year. How does that sound? Sounds very, very, very bad. I would rather, within whatever context I am, do the best of my abilities. One key concept in technology companies is to fail fast. The faster you fail, the faster you're going to succeed, right? So by failing fast, we don't mean like you shut down your company after 2 weeks and like you beat the other guy who shut it down in 3 weeks. No, this is not what fail fast means. Fail fast means to get to your users, you need to keep on tuning your product, right? First, you introduce a feature, no one is using it. You introduce another feature, some people are using it, but it's not working very well. So these small failures help you tune your product so that you can get to the optimal, I mean, you never get to the optimal, but as much as possible to get to, you know, like the sweet spot where things are making sense. So in order to do that from a technical perspective, you need to build your company, again, on data. You need to use source control software. You need to use stuff like continuous integration, unit testing, so you are able to launch a product or like a revision of that product every couple of weeks once it's launched. One key concept of a company called 37 Signals. Anybody heard of 37 Signals? Okay, beautiful. Okay, 37 Signals is the company that invented Ruby on Rails, and they have invented Basecamp. Most of us use Basecamp. And they also invented a beautiful software process to launch products. It's called Getting Real. I recommend everybody who is launching anything to read Getting Real, especially if you're launching anything in technology. So what this process says, never build your full product. You cannot build your full product and launch successfully. Build half of it, but build it properly. Don't build like, okay, there's a, you know, like build it as much as you can to be like solid, but don't build all the features. Minimize features. Less is more. After you build that, then add incrementally. Remember, when you're building something, it's all about the user. It's not about you. It's not about what you wanted. It's not about the colors that you want. It's not about anything. It's always about users who are using your features. There's a very simple rule. It's, of course, doesn't always work. It's my own personal guideline when I want to introduce a feature to, let's say, my website. Or it's called the 80-20 rule. I only keep 20% features of my initial feature set that I expect 80% of the people to use it. If there's a feature that is going to be used by less than 80, if there's 1% people using it and it's not an important feature, I would always drop it. This adds clutter. So we need to minimize clutter. We need to keep only the important features. Always, always, and by all means, abuse your friends. What you need to do after you finish your product, okay, something that we've seen so many times, people finish the development, they take the code from the developers and launch it. No, this is terrible. The first thing that you need to do once you finish your product is to test it on your friends. Have your friend, abuse them, just like, torture them. Bring them to your room, tell them, listen, imagine that you're a user using this system and tell me, what do you see? So this is something that you make sure you need to do before you launch your product. And that's really about, so if you have any questions, I'm going to be with Fuad on the panel. Thank you very much.